Welcome back to Inside AsembleAI's new series, AI in Digital Marketing. This is the third episode of the series. I'm Sam Day.
Mac here. Today, AI-powered advertising and programmatic buying. The shift happening here is fundamental because the traditional ad buying involved manual targeting, static audiences, and fixed bids. Now, AI advertising uses machine learning to optimize targeting, bidding, creative selection in the real time across millions of data points. Performance Max and Meta Advantages Plus campaigns represents this evolution. Algorithms handling what used to recur enter teams of media buyers. Welcome to our new episode, AI Advertising Programmatic's Next Evolution.
Thanks, Mac. And before we dive in further, I would like to remind our listeners to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you like our contents, please feel free to share that with your network. And please share any interesting topics or ideas related to AI stuff you would like to cover us in the next episodes. Now let's break down what's actually happening under the hood. Smart bidding algorithms adjust bids based on conversion likelihood, time of day, device type, user behavior history, competitor activity, and dozens more variables simultaneously. Some of our listeners might be from a programmatic background, would understand that. Now, how the AI is generating a dynamic approach here. The approach is nothing but consistently outperforms manual bid management, especially for campaigns with large audiences and multiple ad variations. But here's the key. Human strategy and oversight remain necessary. Marketers still must set clear goals, supply quality, creative assets, and analyze performance to ensure AI automation that aligns with business objectives. So you will still need your marketers, your programmatic people to make sure they are setting the bidding parameters correctly even before AI starts generating those bidding algorithms and start placing those bids in the internet on the other websites. So it's more of a collaboration between human and AI programmatic, um, you know, techniques. So now I would like to pass it on to Meg to talk about there is a new term called Meta's GM system emerges in this programmatic world. So Meg, could you please share a little bit of insights about that system to our listeners?
Yeah, because Meta's GM system actually demonstrates a very significant state of art. So it evaluates billions of signals in real time to determine the optimal ad placement and targeting. Rather than a broad audience definitions, GM identifies patterns, enabling organization to spend more efficiently by reaching people who are actually likely to convert. Now, Meta reports 4 times stronger ad performance compared to previous models using the similar data. Now, its architecture enables twice the knowledge sharing across Meta's ad ecosystem and reducing manual steps and saving both time and money. Now, when I say that saving time and money, it will be for both ends. It's not just for the producer end, it's also for the consumer ends. So when we ran Meta's ad few years back, it was very time consuming to set up the campaigns, right? And to set up the
It's more
campaigns,
manual.
and it's all the things are manual. Like even though now it's fully like 80% of the things are completely automated. Since and as I mentioned earlier, like GM system demonstrate the state of art. Uh, So it definitely like evaluates the signals and to the real time. So it's not just only that historical data; it tells you the signals in the real time, how the behavior, how the analysis looks like, and how it is going to perform. And I think that's a phenomenal thing.
Yeah. And especially to that point, the efficiency gains are substantial. Now companies report better ROAS. It's an acronym and the full form is return on ad spend. It's a term that people in the marketing area should be familiar with. So that means they are getting more return on ad spend with less manual management. It's a strategic shift. Marketers need to think in terms of outcomes rather than tactics. instead of telling that system that run this ad to this audience at this bid, it's achieve this conversion goals within this budget and let AI determine optimal execution. So you don't have to provide explicit instruction to AI to run those bid going forward. AI is going to actually find out the optimal bidding parameter and do this for you. And that requires trust in the system, comfort with algorithms, making thousands of macro decisions you're not directly controlling. Of course, as someone who are in the audience pool or listening and also a programmatic person thinking about that, okay, I need to train AI first. Yes, that's what you need to do. You need to train the AI, making sure that AI can determine optimal execution of
Right.
RTB or like a real-time bidding without manual oversight. But
Right.
you need to actually judge AI's work initially to make sure it's not setting the bidding parameter in higher threshold that's going to not that's going to actually, I would say impact the ad spend. So you want to minimize the ad spend for sure. So that's kind of my takeaway from this AI executive execution programmatic platform is that it's the next frontier. It's definitely going to create some optimization opportunity for programmatic person, but we also need to make sure that we are training the AI to, you know, making an optimal decision in terms of real-time bidding on the platforms.
Yeah, and you nailed it correctly, Sam. So let's talk about a little bit more about the
Mhm.
ROI. ROI.
Right measurement. Yes, that's actually great. And we can dive into that. Yeah, please.
So because attribution gets more complex with AI advertising.
Mhm.
So you know that the traditional last click attribution doesn't work, that when AI is orchestrating multi-touch journeys, right? So we need more sophisticated attribution models, understanding that how different touch points contribute to conversion. Tools like Salesforce Marketing Cloud, HubSpot Marketing integrate with CRM system to track the customer journeys end to end, connecting ad exposure to actual business outcomes. Now, what are the risks here? So if the over optimization is real, AI might optimize for metrics that don't actually align with business goals. So if you optimize for clicks and you get the clicks, but they might not be quality traffic. If you optimize for conversions without considering the lifetime value, you might acquire expensive customers who churn quickly. So the human role is defining success properly so AI optimizes toward the meaningful outcomes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what I mentioned like a few minutes back when I was kind of talking to probably listeners pool who are working in the programmatic space is that you still need to train the AI model to make sure the AI optimizing based on your benchmark plan. And in the benchmarking, it's another keyword in the marketing world because benchmarking kind of like set the threshold of
All
what
right.
the metrics or to your clicks or impression metrics or other key SLAs that you're actually setting up front before you start the
Mhm.
optimization practices for bidding,
Right.
right? So
Right.
that is something we cannot trust fully on AI. We
Mhm.
do require a human oversight there. So to make sure that AI optimizing based on the marketer's need, not just over optimizing, which doesn't align with their business strategy.
Absolutely. And, there is a question of creative homogenization. Now, when AI determines that works, there is a pressure towards sameness, right? Every brand's ads start looking similar because they're all converging on whatever the algorithm rewards.
Correct.
Now, breaking through requires creative courage, something doing things AI wouldn't recommend because you understand the strategic context the algorithm doesn't. So the brands winning attention are those balancing AI efficiency with human creative boldness. Now, Sam,
Mm-hmm.
the way I see it, that looking at 2026,
Mm-hmm.
programmatic advertising is moving toward full automation. And platforms like Google's Performance Max, Meta's Advantage Plus want to handle everything: targeting, creative, bidding, placement, everything. Your job becomes setting objectives and budgets, then monitoring results. That's it. Now, for small businesses without media buying expertise, the democratize access to sophisticated advertising. For agencies, for small business, for specialists, It forces the evolution towards more strategic consulting rather than tactical execution. What's your
Yeah,
thought?
no, that's correct. I totally agree on that remarks, especially for small businesses with less resource pool. They don't
Mhm.
have a lot of human programmatic experts to spend money on like media buying practices or kind of like, setting some real time bidding parameters for them.
Right.
Can So AI is kind of like a democratizing their bidding practices. Now they can utilize AI
Right.
to create sophisticated advertising tactics or strategy.
Right.
Now, what happens to the agencies and specialists who are already kind of like doing this for their day jobs, right? So they need to think about how they can, change their strategic consulting practices rather than just, performing a tactical execution based on their marketer needs. They
Mhm.
have to kind of like, blend their technique with AI to come up with a better real time bidding approach. So that is something we would probably going to see more in 2026, where the marketing agencies are going to start utilizing AI for their programmatic buying purposes, and we'll see how that thing pans out. And
Mhm.
I believe the broader implication is that advertising effectiveness increasingly separates from advertising budget. Small brands with smart AI implementation can compete with large enterprises now because AI is
Absolutely.
enabling them to do so. The competitive advantage shifts from who can spend most to who can leverage AI best. And we'll see how these small businesses are coming up to compete against the larger marketing agencies. And it also requires different skills like understanding data, testing rigorously, interpreting algorithmic insights, making strategic adjustment, so on and so forth. But this will all could be possible based on AI generated intelligence. And we would see these particular things will unfold further later this year as well as in many years to come, especially in this advertising and marketing space.
Absolutely, Sam. So I think it's time to wrap up this session. So thanks for listening to Assemble AI. Next episode, we'll be covering AI chatbots and conversational marketing. Stay tuned. And till then, keep grinding, keep listening. Thank you.
Thank you.